We had a kid who, I was actually his youth pastor. He went to college, and his professor got up and started talking about how the founding fathers were these raging alcoholics. And I get this text, and he says, hey, my professor's saying this. I'm pretty sure she's wrong, but I don't know what to say. And I said, well, I mean, strategically, and this is what we're teaching the interns, but I said strategically, I said, if you're in the middle class and you want to challenge, you need to pretend like you're this naive kid who just wants to learn more. Hey, can you tell me, where can I find, I want to know more about this. Where can I find original sources? Where can I get documentation? So he raises his hand. The professor tells him that there's an article on the Huffington Post. So
well, there's an original source.
Yeah, it's really credible
Right.
if you're talking about the Founding Fathers. So he texts me the link and says, hey, will you look at this? Let me know what you think. So I pull it up, and there's so many glaring problems.
So here, I mean, just listen to just the first two paragraphs. A recent bestseller has taken up the cudgels of long-standing political and religious controversy. Were our Founding Fathers really religious, and more specifically, Christian? Oh, this drives me nuts. On the one side, humanists point out remarkably little specific mention of Christ in the Fathers, including Lincoln's public utterances. Absolutely false.
Correct.
You can go through and read, and it is all about the Almighty and the Lord Jesus Christ.
Correct.
And
which we're about to look at right here. We're about to
okay.
see some of that.
It's crazy. But advocates for Christianity maintain this should not be taken to dispute our founders' deep underlying faith in God and belief in the divinity of Jesus Christ. Advocates for Christianity, that shows the advocates of Christianity, he's either lying or the advocates of Christianity have no idea themselves what the founder said.
That's his idea.
Yeah, and I think that is probably true. Advocates of Christianity will just say, well, no, but they were, and you shouldn't look at it that way. I mean, when they said God, what they really meant is Christian because we're a Christian nation. That's probably how they defend themselves, which is not an effective defense.
No.
Leaving the contentious debate aside, I want to talk about how much the Founding Fathers drank. The answer is quite a bit. There was a New York Times on Sunday published an account on how Jefferson spent a lot of his time in France while representing the United States inspecting the vineyards of Burgundy. True, he loved wine.
Sure.
Yeah. Was Jefferson a closet drinker? He had no reason to hide his love of wine. No founding father thought it unusual in this pre-temperance era to love the fruit of the vine, or for that matter, hard cider, beer, or even whiskey and rum. I can tell you now just what little I know about George Washington. Whiskey and rum and hard cider would not be part of his day. Beer maybe, and wine maybe, but not whiskey.
No.
Not rum. Again, because of the alcohol content.
Correct.
Take Jefferson's primary rival, John Adams. According to a descendant of his, to the end of John Adams' life, a large tankard of hard cider was at his morning draught before breakfast. Get that man to the Betty Ford Center. How do we know the Founding Fathers as a group drank a lot? Well, for one thing, we have records of their imbibing. In 1787, 2 days before they signed off on the Constitution, the 55 delegates to the Constitutional Convention partied at a tavern. According to the bill preserved from the evening, they drank 54 bottles of Madeira, 60 bottles of claret, 8 bottles of whiskey, 22 of port, 8 of hard cider, 12 of beer, and 7 bowls of alcoholic punch. That is more than 2 bottles of fruit of the vine, plus a few shots and a lot of punch and beer for every delegate. First of all, 2 bottles of wine, a few shots, beer, and punch for every delegate. Unless they truly were alcoholics and they blacked it all out, there's no way humans consume that. Impossible.
Which is what they go on to point out, that they had to have been such raging alcoholics. That's the only way their bodies could have handled that.
Unbelievable.
Which I pointed out to this kid is first of all, they have no sources for any of it. Even though they say they have the receipt, they don't show a picture of the receipt.
Right, or even footnote, where it even is.
There's no footnote for anything in there. They say, well, a descendant of John Adams says he drank a lot. Well, what descendant? Was that his 19th cousin twice removed? I mean, there's a difference. It wasn't like it was John Quincy Adams who said that about his father.
Right.
But they make all these outrageous claims. And so one of the things we try to help, especially in our intern program, when we train the kids, is the impetus is not on me to show you're wrong. If you make a claim, the impetus is on you to show you're right.
Right.
So I'm going to ask you, show me your original sources.